Hello everybody and welcome to Dragonmount. I'm Thom DeSimone and I'll be your host for today. I'm going to be watching episode 7, Dae'mar of season 2 of The Wheel of Time and giving you guys my reactions, my thoughts, my feelings on the episode as I watch it. But first, a big shout out to Tor Books, our lovely sponsors, and all of you lovely folks on Patreon who continue to support us. Without y'all, we wouldn't be able to keep the show going, and we wouldn't be able to improve it each time, new technology, new server space, all that kind of stuff. This episode is going to be book spoiler filled, so if you do not want to be spoiled on any part of the Wheel of Time series, you're going to want to dip out now and go check out our too long didn't read version of episode 7 or any of the other episodes, and those will not have any book spoilers within them, so you'll be safe there. And if those of you who are watching know anyone who is interested in watching content like this but doesn't want to be spoiled, go ahead and send them the too long didn't read version as well. Okay, so this week we jump right into 20 years ago within the White Tower with Maureen and Siuan Sanche. Right off the bat, they look younger. They did a good job, with makeup and probably maybe a little computer touch-ups, making them look, way younger, but still not that much. I think they're doing a good job with the eyesight of being what age are they? One shot they look this age, another shot they look another age. It'd be cool if they actually changed it shot to shot. That would be really cool. Diversion from the books with not having the Amyrlin seat there or having them serving her. They are aged up a bit as well. They seem to be, full Aes Sedai at this point and not accepted. It's a diversion from New Springs, but not really that big of a deal. It doesn't change any details really other than the timing. Still no mention of Elida. This is another part in New Spring where we would have seen her. And Gitara being blind and having the foretelling and doing it in a room with just them two is also very different, but again, doesn't really change anything majorly in the story. I thought this scene was great. I believe that's Hayley Mills that was playing Gitara more so, which is pretty cool. I haven't seen her on the screen in a while. Okay, I love this bit with Lan and Rand. I thought the throwback to this is obviously Rafe and Sarah and the other writers giving us book readers that scene that most fans really liked in Faldara when Lan was teaching Rand how to behave in front of the Amyrlin seat and things like that. So this was a little nod to that, and I appreciate that they put that in. Rand looks great. This jacket that they put on him looks really cool. And, off he goes to see Siuan. But before he gets there, Siuan and Maureen are still speaking, and there's a lot to unpack in this conversation. I think, honestly, Lan telling Siuan and Alanna what happened was maybe one of the bravest things he's ever done, and best things that he's done for Maureen. Even fighting Tumergil, I think this is braver. So, he's doing something that Maureen kind of explicitly told him not to do, but also, there's a lot that hangs on this. The location of the Dragon Reborn, that he's been found, that he's alive now, things like that. And I think he just kind of understood that Maureen needs more help and maybe is a failing on her, that thinking that she couldn't do it herself. So he's doing something that he knows that she needs, but may not be able to ask for it. I'm not sure if that's a fully fleshed out thought that I had, but that's my initial feeling. I was this is exactly what Lan should have done. This is the best thing that he could have done in this situation. Seeing as Maureen is stilled, but I don't think she's stilled. And then we jump right back to Cairhien, and Mat is having a bad day. So Mat gets his head bashed against a wall by some dude. And I say dude because all we see here is a person's hand, and the hand looks rather large, and the person looks rather large. I think I hear them grunt as well, and it sounds like a man. I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it's a man, and they are white. That is all we had. That is all the information we have on them thus far. But then he's whisked away to Falm. And later in the episode we find out it's only been a few hours, maybe a day. So I think traveling may be in the show after all, and, they're just keeping that a little bit tighter wraps. They also could be changing the way it works a little bit, maybe needing more time to study, stuff like that, the area where you're at. I think we're still going to get traveling. Now, these are statues representing the Steels, or at least that's what I thought they were, that were outside of the Dark Friend Social, which was Ishamael's Dream Shard. So Them being in the real world here is interesting, if this is the real world, I guess. It's odd that they're here. I'm not sure why we have them, seeing as like the seals are the physical locations where Ishamael's been going to break them. So why have these statues? I'm not sure. Honestly, I can't figure it out, but what are y'all thoughts on that? Put them in the comments below. Let me know what your thoughts on what these statues are. Why does he have them if the seals are in fact those big circles that are in the chambers near where Ishamael's been going to free the Forsaken? So seeing Egwene like this was a little jarring, not gonna lie. Madeleine is just amazing. Like her, oh man, I feel for her. This must have been tough to film. She's only going to be able to act in these scenes with her face, essentially, because, she can't speak. And I think already she's doing a great job. We have a little defiance, we have a little anger, frustration, disbelief. There's a lot going on here. And I think she's doing really good. The scarification on the Sul'dam's faces, I'm still trying to figure out, especially also the tattoos. Some of them have the half of their face tattooed. So I was wondering if maybe, like, they got that when they had the Dae'mar, or maybe depending on their rank. I'm not sure. The scarification is different though from Rhenna and this other Sul'dam, the one that's in charge here. You could see their scars are the patterns in their scars are different. And then seeing Mygan in the background there. I wonder if they're going to keep the ideas of the affinities, where channelers of Saidar have more of an affinity for air and water, where channelers of Saidin have more of an affinity for fire and earth. If they do it that way and they give Egwene Earth again, because that would be unique to her and making her more special. I mean, we already kind of got the little tidbits of you're special. I hope they tell you you're special. Like, that could just be the nod, and maybe they're not going to do the affinity thing again, because we haven't heard them mention it at all until now. And it was really just Rhenna saying it between the two of them and not in reference to like specific weaves of the one power. But at the very least, she's going to be much stronger than all these people. So that should be, enough to gain Rhenna a high stance by having this Dae'mar that is so powerful. Okay, so now we're back in the courtyard with all of our lovely Aes Sedai, plus my favorite Aes Sedai, Yasaka. I love her. I love her so much. Look at her. She's just fantastic. I mean, every inch of her screams librarian, like that coat. I don't know why it screams librarian at me, but it really does, and I like it a lot. But I really love her. If she ends up being like a dark friend or gets killed too soon, like, I'm gonna be really upset. I have a really strong feeling they're gonna kill her though, mainly because like she had that fun cute scene with like Naomi and Varen and they ate stuff, and now she's being all sneaky. Like, I feel like they're gonna kill her. I feel like they're going to kill her, and I'm terrified. And then one thing I want to note also is here when we switch to Alanna, Maxim, and Yvonne, when Maxim references toward Varen, even though he says, I don't trust Varen, he says, I don't trust Varen Sedai. He still gives her moniker out of respect. But later in this scene where he mentions Liandrin, he only says Liandrin. Now, I don't know if that's a mistake or if it's done poignantly, but I just want to make note of it because it was a little odd to me. I also like how they're talking about, don't split the party, essentially. How they have this like little thing amongst them, it seems, where they vote. And Maxim said 2-1. So, because Alanna didn't want to split the party, and they want to follow Thomas to see where he's going, so Yvonne goes to follow Thomas. So I'm interested to see what that nets, but, we'll see. Now, before I go on, there's going to be a spoiler in the next couple of seconds. That is a major spoiler for a specific character story arc in the Wheel of Time. So if you don't want to hear that, skip about 15 seconds ahead. There's a bunch of Black Aja Aes Sedai in the scene, particularly Varen and Joya Bair. Now, we know Varen's a double agent, but Joya Bair is not. Now, I think this other unnamed Red Sister here may be Galena. I don't know what's telling me that, but I think it might be. She's, now this is like the third or fourth time she's been on camera. And, if she was just an extra, I don't feel like they would have shown her this much. Especially these like nice up close photos of her. And, her costume is great. All the costuming is great. Even the extras in the back, the warders who are just wandering around in the back and the guards, they all look fantastic. But for some reason, I just feel like they're showing her very clearly and prominently in the center of the screen a few times, even since last episode. So I think this could be someone who's reoccurring. And I'm going to go ahead and guess Galena because Joya is talking to her and she's a Black Sister as well. So we'll see. Now we get the reunion, not too long, but it's a reunion nonetheless between Maureen and Lan. And I really enjoy this scene a lot. I'm glad they included this scene of the two of them talking for the first time alone in this episode. It shows their relationship again nicely. I think they're doing a good job with that. And I want to reiterate, I still think Lan was 100% correct in what he did here. And Maureen kind of realizes that here. That's why she doesn't respond when he says, you need to trust somebody. You can't do this alone. She didn't respond after that, because she knows that she can't and that she needs help. But it's going to be so difficult to find out who you could trust, because you don't know who's Black Aja or who's a Dark Friend or not. But Lan saying, I thought at least it could be her, is probably the closest thing to sure that they could possibly be. Is like Swan would definitely not be Black Aja. I think Lan thinks he's in the right here, but I'm not sure how they're going to react. But yeah, so I think that he did the right thing. I love this little knowing smile he gives here. The fact that he's researching stilling is also interesting, and I'm now also convinced I'm 100% sure she wasn't stilled. Not 100, I'm 98% sure she wasn't stilled. Lan seems to have been looking up information on women who are stilled, and pretty much all of them at least probably feel the urge to kill themselves. We know that happens, at least from the books, and that's at least what it seems confirmed from here. And he gives this little knowing smile when she says, no, I've never even thought it one time. So I think he's taking that as partial evidence to say that she isn't stilled. The idea of it being a shield and tied off is interesting, because tied off weaves aren't a thing yet, but we'll see. Damn, Egwene can fucking channel. That was some strong shit there. So they're testing the demonic strength by just doing these, simple explosions with as much power as they could draw. And Rhenna, going into this, knows that she's going to blow everyone out of the water. She's got to be able to sense Egwene's power through this. And then, look at the difference between these two, shockwave imprints. I don't want to say craters, but that's kind of what it is. Huge difference there. It's crazy. I love seeing this. And then just remember, Nynaeve is 10 times stronger than that. And then Rand is even stronger than her, and Lanfear is even stronger than Nynaeve. So there's the power scale there is just insanity. I can't wait till we see the Dragon Reborn, Nynaeve, Lanfear, the Forsaken really, really let loose. I want to see them really, really, really let loose. Or maybe even Balefire. It's going to be epic. It's going to be crazy. Then we get to see my boy Loyal. He's on errands in his new status as one who is owned, or Dakovale, in Falme. And they even disturbed this little kitty. His name is Scar. That's his new name, because he has the little black stuff on his face. So his new name is Scar. That is the cat's name, Scar, in my head at least. And we see him, he meets up with Nynaeve and Elaine. Interesting, he recognizes Elaine on sight, which is interesting. He's supposed to be a young Ogier and, not well-traveled, or at least, from the books. So, recognizing the daughter heir on sight is interesting, but I guess that's not too crazy, seeing that she's royalty, and he probably studies stuff like that, so I guess that's not too crazy. I like this little bit that they put them in there, and now Loyal knows, so he has a leg to stand on when he talks to Ingtar. So we'll see what happens with that, but yeah, I'm liking where they're going with that. This is more also in line with the books, what happened with Elaine and Nynaeve. They were in the town alone and things like that, so we'll see how they do. All right, if there's one thing I've learned from the next scene is don't do ayahuasca with Ishamael. Or really probably any of the Forsaken. Maybe Grendel. Let's just say any of them for safety's reasons. Because ayahuasca kind of looks like this, and it's a hallucinogenic, and it can be drank in a tea, so I'm thinking it's ayahuasca. Because obviously this isn't the one power here, it's some sort of herb. Ayahuasca makes you hallucinate, does make you see past lives. So I think what he's doing here is just tricking Matt, and he's using manipulation to kind of try to manipulate what his trip is going to be. He tells him what you're going to see, what this does, so therefore that's all he's thinking about, and then he drinks it and then he starts tripping, and that's what he sees. So it's a stretch, but I think that's what's happening here. I don't think there's an herb that allows you to see your past lives. So we do see some interesting yet disturbing things here. Trigger warning for self-unaliving. If anyone doesn't want to see images of anything like that, there's an image of Matt in the mirror that is of that. So just a heads up. Okay, now that we've given everyone a second, we have this image of him hanging himself apparently in the mirror, not a past life. And then we have this image of someone, looks like darker skinned person drowning somebody in a tub. And then it morphs into Matt when his not a mother says like him. And then it changes to Matt when we see this next image. And then there's another new person in this image with buttoned up coat here. And then they're stabbing this woman who kind of looks like Egwene maybe. And she says, like her. So in Matt's past life, one of his past lives, he was a woman, or at least that's what this is saying, and also a murderer, stabbing somebody with a dagger. As Ishmael said earlier too, the stab of a dagger. So I think he's just really trying to push Matt toward that. I think it's just all manipulation, and none of it is honest. I'm even leaning toward maybe Min's vision was faked somehow by Ishmael. I'm not sure, though. We'll see. So yeah, it snaps back and forth. This entire sequence is creepy, and it really just shows, and I've said it a couple of times before, we know one of the executive producers, and she's also been a director on some of the episodes. Sanaa Hamri talked about how she really wanted to dial up the horror for this season, and this scene, I mean, this entire season has had a lot of really strong horror moments, but this scene right here is psychological horror at its best. Like, it's creepy and terrifying as crap, like especially this scene.
Stop. Just like him.
Yeah, no, like that back and forth with Matt a little bit, like it's a little comical while at the same time it's just really just mostly terrifying. Like, yeah, well done. And again, Donald, freaking amazing. If there's one thing no one can ever say about The Wheel of Time, is that the acting isn't fantastic. Every single person in this show is an amazing actor and just balls to the wall, just crazy good in everything that they've done. I have no complaints on the acting in this show whatsoever. And if anyone does, it's dishonest. That's all I have to say. But yeah, so don't trip with a Forsaken. Bad idea. Not much else going on here in this room. I don't think this is honest. I don't think this is a look at his past lives. I think this is just Ishmael trying to get him to stab Rand. I think that's all this is. And I'm going to make a prediction right now that instead of Ishmael touching him with the end of his quarterstaff while in the sky and giving him a wound that will not heal, this is going to be the wound that will not heal. And it will always be there between him and Matt, even though Matt is probably going to have been manipulated into doing this and maybe not even be of complete sound mind when he does it, if he does it. But I think this will be the wound that will not heal. If it does happen, if he does stab him, that's what it'll be. This will be the wound that won't heal for the rest of the series. A look at the relationship between Maureen and Siuan finally cracking a little bit here. This doesn't look put on, but I wouldn't be surprised to find out later that this was entirely put on. Like, they planned this from the beginning. Very public opposition of each other, and then Maureen rescuing him from her clutches, but it doesn't feel that way. Like I could see them doing something like that, some sneaky stuff like that, because like that was like something that they did in the books, not with Ren, but with, you know, something else. This feels more honest, like Siuan is in opposition of Maureen here. And Maureen's description of being shielded is the same description that she gives for when she is. Yeah, so she's definitely shielded. Leanne looks great. Like, I'm loving this costume she's got. It's a little modern looking, but still looks really cool. Perrin and the Aiel have been pretty interesting, too. I like how Perrin's picking them out of the sand here and stuff. We get our first look at Bane and Chiad. And then all the ABC maidens on screen. Aviendha chose to meet her toe in the quickest way possible, which is usually, if I remember correctly from the books, is also like the least honorable way, like to be beat to meet your toe, but like it's fast. It's the fastest way to do it, and they don't really have much of an option here. The other thing I want to point out is it seems like this person is buried laying down, and in the books the Aiel are supposed to be buried standing so that they could face, you know, the Dark One on their feet, or they could face death on their feet. I hope this is like a mistake from the set design guy or the prop guy or something, and that this isn't just like they didn't do that. Like, it's such a simple piece of the lore to leave in, just make a small pile of stones instead of a big pile of stones, but like, yeah, I hope they didn't change that. I would be like, why if they changed that? Like, it's such a simple piece of the lore to leave in, and it adds just a little bit more depth to the Aiel, makes their thing just a little bit more interesting, their culture, their traditions and stuff. I hope this is just a mistake and it isn't like a change to the lore, but I'm willing to wait to see until they mention something in some way. If they never talk about it, if we go to the Aiel Waste or we see a lot more Aiel and they never mention it, then yeah, then they changed it. And I really don't understand why they would change something as simple as that. It doesn't save any time or anything, but here we are. And if you pay attention, soon as they like start talking here and they're made in hand talk, Hopper starts growling because he can sense their tension, I'm guessing. Another question is if anyone understands ASL or ESL, English Sign Language, I think, or any of the SLs, is what they're doing just pure gibberish, or is it like, is there any part of that that's like real sign language in any way? I'm kind of curious. I only know like letters and stuff like that, and then like, you know, curse words. But yeah, so if anyone knows, let me know. So the scene with Ishamael and Matt is, yeah, I'm definitely sure he was tripping on ayahuasca now. Just look at his face. And it's a little creepy, the whole brushing his face thing. And just like, it's also disturbing, like, knowing Ishamael and it's Matt. Like, this is not somewhere where Matt wants to be. But here he is just manipulating Matt perfectly again. You know, we know Matt is a broken person. He's, you know, he comes from a terrible home life. He had to raise his sisters. He's constantly taking care of his parents, or his mother at the very least, and like is embarrassed by his father, also worried that he's going to become his father. Then he got corrupted by the dagger, and we still think he still has some of that corruption in him. So I think Ishamael is twisting that, maybe even along with some compulsion, to drive Matt into doing what he wants him to do here, which is stab Rand. So I really think he's accomplishing that, to be perfectly honest with you. I think he's doing a good job to make him see that. The idea of Ishamael wanting to break the wheel to stop his suffering is like a late game Wheel of Time book reason that we find out, because the majority of the book, it's just everyone wants power and to live forever and rule the world and stuff like that. But only later in the book did we start seeing these more deeper thinking dark friends that like wanted to break the wheel or reshape the wheel so that there was no suffering and stuff like that. So the idea that they're doing that a little earlier here is nice, so that we see some more depth to the evil side. But at the same time, Ishamael is the leader of the Forsaken. They've named him in this. They haven't said Nabellige yet, but they, you know, they have named him the leader of the Forsaken. How is he going to settle that with the other Forsaken? I'm sure not all the Forsaken want that. Like, they don't all want to end time. So I'm interested to see what the others think of his plan. Well, I don't think that's what Rand was expecting. Like, or Maureen for that instance, because I think that was also partially Maureen's plan as well. So yeah, him going to sleep, talking to Lanfear. I don't think he was expecting destroy half the city, which is probably what she's going to do. Like, she's going to be killing a lot of innocent people here, and I doubt Rand and Maureen would have wanted her to do that. She's probably just twisting it into, you know, like, get me out, to being like, okay. And then she'll cause maximum destruction in doing that. So, like, you know, the dragon and maybe Maureen will be seen with Lanfear, or at the very least a woman who just destroyed half the city and killed a whole bunch of people. So like, that's not going to endear him to anybody. So that could also just be, you know, icing on the cake for her. But yeah, no. Still looking freaking fantastic, both goth version and white silvery clothed version. I'm wondering if this is like a nod to how we think she's going to be combined with Semiraj. So in the books, we remember Lanfear wore white specifically because Semiraj used to wear black all the time. Or maybe it was the other way around. So the fact that she's wearing black in the World of Dreams and white in the real world, I think is, you know, we already knew they were going to be combining Forsaken, but this could be Sarah and or Rafe or the other writers trying to tell the book readers here that that is kind of what's happening. I mean, they already gave Lanfear her title of the best in the dream world. Lanfear was good, but not as good as Semiraj. So being the best is Semiraj's thing. So we'll see how much more she has in common with her. There may be a Aes Sedai / warder being tortured in Sheol Ghul in the future. We'll see. All right, so now we get to see the rest of that meeting with Yandrin, and I was wrong. So Avenir is not the Dark Friend. I mean, I was partially right. I said Barthanes could have been as well, and especially in the last episode, he seemed really forcing his really goody two-shoes routine. But yep, I was wrong. I tripled down on it, and she was not the Dark Friend. I think they were setting it up for us to, you know, think that. But yeah, no, it is Barthanes. I can admit when I'm wrong. I mean, it rarely happens, so, you know. But yeah, so Barthanes is the Dark Friend here. Liandrin wants him to kill Maureen and his mom if she asks too many questions, and she heard all that. So that should provoke an interesting response. So now finally somebody who's in the city with other Aes Sedai know Liandrin is a dark friend as well. So hopefully that news gets back to some people as well, and not just about her son. Though, unless she wants to keep the fact that her son is a dark friend under wraps too, then she couldn't report on that, because then they would wonder how she knew. So yeah, we'll see. I hope she does report it, because everyone needs to know that. And one of the things that Wheel of Time characters don't do well in the books is communicate, and it would be great if they do that a little bit better in the show. I mean, so far have been pretty good, but this is one of those things that communication is key here. If they know Liandrin's a dark friend, sooner rather than later is definitely best. So this scene of like Maxim playing with his hair in the reflection of his daggers, it's a little odd. I mean, like, I haven't seen him be like super vain, so I don't know what they're trying to tell us with this. It seems almost like they're trying to make Maxim seem dark, or like, you know, not a great person. I'm not sure, but like, you know, him vainly sitting there looking at his reflection in his dagger, it's funny and it's cute, while at the same time, like, I'm not sure, like, it's a little weird. But then one thing I want to point out in his conversation with Alana is he says, I miss the farm. Now, our book readers would know that the farm is what the kin call their home base, where all of the women who can channel that have either been put out of the tower or ran away from the tower go. That is what that place seemed, and since they said it's the place where the Aes Sedai go to retire, I think they might be cutting the kin, which makes sense. I mean, like, I'm okay with that. They were an interesting addition and another way of showing how the Aes Sedai don't really have everything under control, where they thought they understood the kin and how many there were and stuff, but there's really hundreds, if not a couple of thousand of them, and like some of them are very old, and the 3 O's thing gets tied into it, so we'll see. But like, this makes me think they may be cutting the kin, and I'm not entirely like upset about that, as long as they do it right, like with everything else. The only thing that it does is, like, I really liked Egwene's plan at the end of the series when she said, you know, like, the plan is you are released from the oaths and then go retire in the kin, so you can live longer, like, once you don't want to be Aes Sedai anymore. So, like, if they're not going to do that, then, you know, I don't know. It remains to be seen, but we'll see. I might be reading too far into it. So it's nice to see Egwene braiding her hair again. I mean, she immediately took that braid out when she got to the White Tower to be like, I'm not a wisdom, I'm not from a little village. But now she's here, she's putting it back in for strength. I think they're going to harken back to that line from episode 1, that first scene where, you know, they're braiding her hair and they're like, if you ever scared or whatever, you know, touch this braid and know and that the other women that braided your hair and the women before them are there with you to give you strength, and, you know, stuff like that. So I think that's what they're going to nod toward when she completes it and finally gets it off. I will kill you, Rena, was a great line there. That's in the running for best line in the show. I think it's probably going to beat out Is This a Sex Thing or a Murder Thing, because that was hilarious, but this is just powerful, showing our girl Egwene not broken, but, you know, biding her time. And then we cut to our good man Barthanes getting locked up, his mom locking him up. The fact that she has the guards there and there's no Aes Sedai makes me a little worried that she's going to try to keep this a secret. I'm not sure yet, though. So, I mean, a lot of other people know here, the guards, like, that's a lot of people to keep a secret. So, like, I feel like she's got to tell the Aes Sedai as well, or it's going to get out to them at the very least. But I'm still waiting to actually see her do it before I, like, let out that sigh of relief that she's going to let it out, because a large part of me still thinks that she may try to keep it a secret. Okay, so Varen freeing Rand here is going to spell some trouble for her in the future, I'm pretty sure. So I tried to pay really close attention to the words that she said, and this is, like, I'm pretty sure I got them all right, but here's what she said exactly. The Amyrlin requires your strength to protect Cairhien. Not a lie. She probably does. Lanfear is probably stronger than all of them put together. I've been told to watch the boy. Now, that part has got to be a lie, because who told her to watch the boy? Like, that feels like a blatant lie. Like, she says, I've been told to watch the boy. It doesn't sound, by the way, Suan reacts later, that she was told. So I'm not sure how far that's bending. We may get some more context on that later. But then she says, this is an order, Lyanna Sedai. So, I mean, like, she could be ordering it, which still makes it an order. Like, it doesn't have, she didn't say this is an order from the Amaryllin. She just said this is an order, Lyanna Sedai. So, I am ordering you. It's an order now. Yeah, the only part I'm a little iffy on is I've been told to watch the boy. It's the only thing I'm a little iffy on. Everything else seems like it could be a workaround, and Maureen even says, you chose your words cleverly, sister, or clever words, sister, or something like that. Yeah, I'm not sure. The other really cool thing here is if you look, so Verin and Lyanna are like the way they're channeling, especially the shield, very differently. We have like a little Kamehameha action here almost, from Verin, and then Lyanna is just like her arms straight out, and very different actions in the way they're channeling, which is interesting. I like that little detail that they threw in. I hope they keep building on that in the future. Now we kind of also know where she sent Thomas earlier. At least I'm thinking she probably sent him to go double check where the Waygate was based on the map. And then since Yvonne followed him, that's why Alana, Maxim, and Yvonne are there. So now this is the group. This is our group right here. This is our group that's going to go and see what's up. I'd really like to find out how Verin's going to get out of this one. Since Alana's also staying behind, maybe they're going to be like, Alana saw what was happening and Alana said to go watch the boy. So she just said, I've been told to watch the boy. I've been told. Alana told me to watch the boy. I was told to watch the boy. So maybe they're going to have Alana in on it too now. And I wasn't lying. The Amaryllin did need your strength. Lanfear was fighting. None of it, I could see that being the thing since Alana and Verin are both staying behind. I'm not sure though. We'll see. Okay, so Nynaeve and Elaine collaring a Suldam here. What the hell is going on? So this happens way later in the book. There was a couple of scenes in the last episode that made me think they kind of already know Suldam can channel, but I'm not sure. At the very least, they know they have some sort of affinity with the One Power, because only some women can be Suldam, and only some women can be Demayan. If not, then they're bringing that way forward, and that's going to make a lot of interesting implications for storylines that happen earlier in the books than when they found out in the books. So, especially because it's happening in Falma, it's happening in the city with a Suldam that is there. You know what I mean? This is going to be interesting. I'm really interested to see how they're going to do this in the next episode. And then one thing, how are they going to hide the fact that she's Suldam? I mean, obviously they could take the braids out and put different clothes on her and stuff, but it looks like she does have some scarification on her face, so that's going to be an interesting thing. I mean, they could, I guess, just make her put her head down and stuff, but, we'll see. I mean, marching in there with her in tow is going to be interesting. Now, they also still need a Damane dress, but it's at least one uniform color is not hard to do. They have the Suldam uniform with the woman that they captured, so I guess we'll see. But this is a very interesting jump in the storyline, and I can't wait to see the implications that it has in the next episode and in all future dealings with the Seanchan, it happening this soon in the story. So the fight between Maureen and Siuan is very poignant because it's showing the rip in the tower that I think they're going to try forming now. I'm hesitant to say that they're going to do the whole rift in the tower early without Elida and all that stuff, but this is going to be a rift. This is going to be Maureen and possibly a faction that supports her, because I'm sure there's going to be other Aes Sedai that are like, we shouldn't collar the Dragon Reborn. We need him to, collar. We shouldn't put him in a cage and, keep him shielded. He needs to go out and affect the world. There's other prophecies that need to be fulfilled. Da-da-da-da-da. And now Siuan is not thinking like that. So this is a big deal. This is a big diversion from the books and this entire storyline. This is a whole new thing. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. It depends on how well it's done and what they do and what else they do with it. That'll be whether I like it or not. I'm a little iffy on it right now, but it seems interesting. So Lanfear's words, a broken Amaryllin is more useful to me than a dead one. So is she broken? Is she paralyzed? Did she still her? Did she shield her? Is she broken emotionally? What does she mean? She's obviously broken emotionally. She's pretty upset. So Maureen fought her against her, not physically, but, defied her, and then sided with Lanfear, or Forsaken, said that listened to the Dragonborn and said, if you want me to help you, you won't kill them, and then they went into the ways together. So, that, emotionally, probably not going to be the best for Siuan. We'll see, I guess, what comes of that. I'm very interested to see where they go with this. Very, very interested. The other thing I'd like to point out is it took Maureen about 25 seconds of channeling to open that Waygate. Lanfear went like this, and it was open. So a little it was pretty interesting. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's just the level of power that Lanfear has, or if it's, maybe just how dexterous she is at channeling over the current ages Aes Sedai. We'll see, but that was interesting. It's a great episode. I thought this was a good ending, and I can't wait to see episode 8. Oh my god, I really hope we see the horn get blown in the next episode. Oh man, can't wait. Anyway, thanks for everyone for joining me in this episode. It was fantastic. I had a lot of fun. Each episode gets better and better and better, and just like, oh my god, I'm so happy with it. I have a few issues, like especially with this whole Maureen Siuan Lanfear thing that's going on, but we'll see what happens. Let me know what y'all think. Post in the comments, and tag us on all the social medias, at Dragonmount.com on Twitter and at Dragonmount_ on Instagram. You can find all the links below. Go to our website, post on our blog, share, like, subscribe, all that jazz. I'm terrible at promoting our stuff, but, thankfully you guys have been really helping us out and doing it without me having to tell you guys. But, I think I'm supposed to do that, so I'll start doing it more. I promise. We'll see y'all on Monday for the rewatch with this week's guest, on October 2nd, 2023, Catherine Redfield. Link to her Instagram will be below. She is a cosplay extraordinaire. She's won many awards this year, Masters of Cosplay up in Canada. I want to say it was Toronto. Yeah, she's just fantastic. She's a huge fan of the Wheel of Time, and we're gonna hang out with her on Monday and watch this episode with her. And as always, may you find water and shade on the slopes of Dragonmount. Peace.
And that's our show. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, please subscribe, hit the like button, give us a thumbs up, or leave us a comment. We love comments, especially positive ones. And if you have any friends that are interested in the Wheel of Time, please share some of our videos with them. And as always, a huge thank you to our sponsor, Tor Books, as well as our amazing Patreon community. And if you are interested in learning about how more of this show was made, or some Wheel of Time insights, you too can become a member of the Patreon community. And as always, follow us on Dragonmount with social media. And thank you so much for watching.